What is the history of perspective in painting? Have you ever wondered how artists create the illusion of depth on a flat canvas? The history of perspective in painting reveals a fascinating journey through time. It all began in ancient Greece around the 5th century before Christ. Artists and theater designers experimented with ways to create spatial depth, setting the stage for future developments. Fast forward to the 1st century before Christ, and we find Roman frescoes, particularly those in Pompeii. These works showed early attempts at using converging lines to suggest depth, though they lacked a formal understanding of how to achieve this effect consistently. During the Middle Ages, the focus shifted to religious symbolism. Artists often depicted figures based on their importance rather than their spatial position, leading to a loss of realistic representation. The real turning point came in the early 15th century during the Italian Renaissance. Filippo Brunelleschi, a brilliant architect from Florence, is credited with inventing linear perspective around the year 1415. He demonstrated how parallel lines converge at a single vanishing point on the horizon line. This technique allowed artists to create a mathematically precise illusion of depth on a two-dimensional surface. Soon after, painters like Masaccio began applying these principles in their works. This marked the establishment of perspective as a foundational technique in Western art. For the next 5 centuries, Brunelleschi's system became the standard. Baroque painters such as Caravaggio, Rubens, Rembrandt, and Velázquez used linear perspective to enhance realism and drama in their pieces. As art continued to evolve, neoclassical artists maintained this tradition. Impressionists like Claude Monet and Pierre-Auguste Renoir also employed perspective, but they focused more on capturing light and atmosphere. Meanwhile, post-impressionists started to challenge the strict rules of perspective, paving the way for new artistic expressions. A significant shift occurred in the late 19th century with Paul Cézanne. He questioned classical perspective by simplifying forms into geometric shapes. This allowed objects to exist independently within the picture space, influencing modern art movements that embraced abstraction and multiple viewpoints. With the rise of photography in the late 1800s, the role of perspective as a tool for realism in painting diminished. However, artists adapted perspective techniques alongside new technologies and artistic innovations. In the 20th century, street art illusions and computer-generated imagery showcased fresh approaches to perspective. The history of perspective in painting is a rich narrative of rediscovery and transformation. From its early beginnings in ancient Greece to its formalization during the Renaissance, perspective has shaped how we perceive art and space. This journey reflects key cultural and artistic moments that have defined human visual expression throughout history.